Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, if you're maybe feeling a bit tired of the same old genre formulas, we've got something really special today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are diving deep into Kimjira. It's a 2025 Thai series that, honestly, people started calling a masterpiece almost immediately.
And for good reason.
Exactly, because it did something pretty revolutionary, I think. It blended like high-stakes supernatural horror with this incredibly intense romance rooted in karma and deep Thai cultural element seamlessly.
It really is quite something, a standout piece of storytelling. This show is working on so many levels, spiritually speaking. It's not just, oh no, a ghost.
Right.
It's this massive struggle against, well, what seems like a totally fixed fate. And it's all built on these profound Buddhist ideas, karma, rebirth.
So our mission today really is to dig into the key stuff from the sources, how that generational curse basically runs the whole show. The past life connection stretching back centuries that tie everyone together, and that core emotional fight. Destiny versus choosing your own path. That's what makes the love story just so powerful.
Couldn't agree more. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with the main guy, Khemjira. Or Khem, as everyone calls him. He's basically born into, like, an existential nightmare.
Pretty much.
Every single male child in his family line, cursed, doomed to die violently, unnaturally, before they even hit 21.
Yeah, it's brutal. And then there's that detail about his name, which is just fascinating and so crucial.
Right. His mother, trying to protect him, gives him the name Khemjira, which is traditionally feminine. The idea being, maybe she can confuse the spirits hunting the family's sons.
And that one decision just shapes his whole existence, his identity struggles. He's literally fighting fate, fighting death itself by using this kind of superstitious camouflage, trying to pass as a daughter to dodge these forces.
But as his 21st birthday gets closer and closer,
The attacks ramp up.
Yeah.
They get way more aggressive, more personal. It becomes clear this isn't something he can just, hide from anymore.
which is what pushes him and his friend Jatana Jet to look for help. Serious help. They end up traveling out to Ubon Ratchathani, this rural province, which, as the sources point out, is known for its deep roots in, ancient magic and old traditions.
The world away from modern Bangkok.
Totally. And they're looking for Faren. He's supposed to be this incredibly powerful shaman, but he's really, really reluctant to help them.
Yeah, and that reluctance is basically the central conflict for, the first half of the series. That setting, Ubon Ratchathani, it's perfect. It
Right.
immediately grounds everything in genuine Thai village life, ancient practices, a real contrast to Khem's world.
But Farron isn't just being difficult for the sake of it, is he? His coldness, it comes from a place of real pain, real tragedy. Let's maybe unpack why he's so resistant, especially when Khem is clearly, dying.
Right. It's not just him being cold. He's operating under this strict boundary he set for himself. Years back, his grandfather, Master Sek, got involved with black magic, specifically trying to help Khem with this same curse when Khem was just a kid.
Oh, wow. Go
And
ahead.
the consequence, the unintended fallout, was the death of Pharan's own mother. It was catastrophic.
Oh, man.
So because of that, Pharan swore this oath to his grandfather, white magic only. Protecting the village, fine, but absolutely no getting involved in resolving these huge, complex, karmic debts. The risk of repeating that tragedy, it terrifies him. That's paramount.
Okay, that makes his stance completely understandable, even if it's heartbreaking to watch Khem suffer.
Exactly.
What I found really cool, though, is how the show uses specific Thai folklore. It's not just generic spooky stuff. The sources really emphasize the main antagonist, Rumphuang. She's a vengeful spirit, but she's incredibly powerful, driven by this centuries-old sense of injustice, not just some random ghost.
Absolutely. And Pharan's methods, when he does eventually engage, are just as specific. You see authentic shamanic practices, rituals, protective amulets.
Like the one Khem wears from Farron's grandfather.
Yeah, that one. And also he uses these protective spirit children, Thong and Ak.
Yes, those are brilliant. They seemed really based on the concept of Kum and Thong, right? Those golden child spirits.
Definitely feels like that, yeah. The Kum and Thong idea is about spirits believed to bring protection, sometimes luck. Here, they represent this complex relationship, this sort of contract between the living and the spirit world.
And in a story where the curse specifically targets young men, having these protective child spirits feels like this almost desperate, counterattack against the forces trying to claim Khem.
Precisely. It shows the spiritual world in the series is complex, it's strategic. You need all these tools, all this specific magic, because the root of Khem's problem isn't just a haunting, it's cosmic debt.
Right. The whole family curse is basically the direct result, generation after generation, of what their ancestors did. So Kem's not just fighting for his life, he's trying to, like, balance the spiritual books for his entire bloodline.
The massive burden.
It really is staggering when you think about it. One axe centuries ago, so let's rewind. 400 years, where did this all start? What created this massive karmic mess?
Okay, so we need to go back to 1767. Ramphwang. She was apparently a kind mistress to this lord, but the lord's main wife, Ketkaku, who's Kem's ancestor, was intensely jealous.
Ah, the classic setup.
Right, and Ketkai does something horrific. She murders Ramphwang's baby. But the real kicker, the thing that truly sealed the curse, was the betrayal that followed.
Okay.
Trong Quan, who we find out was Kem's spirit in that lifetime, our mother, they witnessed it or knew the truth, but out of fear they lied. They backed up this false story that Ramphwang had actually killed Ketkai's baby and suffered a stillbirth herself.
Oh no, that lie. That's what doomed everyone.
That lack of justice, that profound betrayal, is what fueled Ramphwang's rage into something eternal. Before she was beaten to death herself, she cursed the entire bloodline.
Wow.
All the sons would die young before 21, and all the daughters would suffer heartbreak and broken relationships. That injustice, that specific lie, is the source of the horror Kem is living through now. He's carrying the weight of his ancestors, basically failing a crucial moral test.
That's heavy. But the past lives don't stop there, right? It's not just Kem and the curse. His dreams start showing more.
Exactly. Kem starts having these vivid dreams, revealing that his spirit, in a more recent past life, was a woman named Khemjira around 1939. And she died. Well, basically of a broken heart.
And Faren.
Faren was Pawat, her fiancé back then, a devoted military doctor.
Yeah.
Their connection runs deep across lifetime.
It's incredible how interconnected it all is. The sources also mention the secondary characters are tied in too, like Jet and Charm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not just the main couple. It turns out Jet, in the present, was Jin back then.
Yeah.
And Charn was Dawn. They were Kamika's friends. And their own relationship secrets, things they kept hidden, actually contributed to Kamika's loneliness and despair back then. So it shows that everyone currently involved is sort of tangled up in the consequences of past actions. Even seemingly minor choices ripple across time.
Okay, so you've got Kem crushed under this generational debt, literally counting down the days. And then Faren, who could help, but he's paralyzed by his own past trauma and fear of loss. This sets up such a unique tension for the romance, doesn't it? It's like the slowest burn possible.
Right.
But against the most urgent deadline imaginable. His 21st birthday?
Yeah, Faren's initial pushing Kem away, that coldness, it's pure self-preservation. He's desperately trying to exert free will.
Yeah.
You know, to not get involved, to not let destiny pull him in. He keeps rejecting Kem because he's genuinely terrified of history repeating itself, especially after his grandma Sai dies later on.
Right.
Another loss connected to all this. He's convinced if he lets himself care, Kem is doomed.
It's that ultimate conflict. Fate versus choice. Is it all predetermined, or can you fight it? But Faren can't hold out forever, can he? Around episode 7, things start to shift.
They do. Despite trying so hard to stay detached, his instincts to protect Kem just keep taking over during the spirit attacks. He can't help himself.
And Kem tries to leave him, right, thinking it'll keep Faren safe.
Exactly. Kem decides the only way to protect Faren is to push him away, to face the curse alone. And that action, Kem trying to sacrifice himself in a way, forces Faren's hand emotionally. It breaks through his defenses.
That's the turning point.
Yeah, there's this incredibly powerful moment where Faren finally apologizes, not for loving Kem, but for even approaching him, for letting things get this far. Given his deep fear of loss, he confesses everything. And that vulnerability, that honesty, is what finally allows them to connect. They have their first kiss, it cements things. His fear is still there, but the bond is stronger now.
But Kem's own fear, that he's just a burden, that he'll bring disaster to Faren, that doesn't just vanish.
Not at all. It leads to the climax. In the final episodes, Kem, believing he's poisoned, basically runs off to face his fate alone. He intends to just let the curse take him.
Which forces Faren to go all in, no more holding back.
Absolutely. Now Faren is ready to break every single vow he made, risk everything to save Kem. And this is where things get really epic, cosmically speaking. He receives this incredibly powerful weapon.
Ah, yes. From the Naga deity, Fuchong.
Exactly. And it's not just some random magical artifact appearing. The show explains that Fuchong, this powerful snake god, is repaying a debt. A massive 1,000-year-old debt owed to Faren's own ancient spirit self, Fuchegan, who's also a Naga being.
Wait, a 1,000-year-old favor from a Naga god. That's dialing it up to 11.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit more about the Naga significance here? Because that feels huge.
Oh, it is huge. In Thai belief and across Southeast Asia, Nagas are these powerful, ancient serpent deities. They're often linked to water, the earth, the underworld, sometimes wealth, and definitely protection and immense power. So by bringing in a Naga debt from a millennium ago, Fern isn't just using his shaman skills anymore. He's tapping into this vast, ancient, cosmic network.
Wow.
It really emphasizes that the power needed to actually change Khem's destiny, to rewrite this 400-year-old karmic script, has to come from the deepest, most powerful levels of the spiritual world. It's not just about fighting a ghost, it's about shifting cosmic balance.
So armed with this ancient Naga power, Pharan literally dives into Khem's nightmare realm.
Yeah, where Khem is basically giving up, ready to die. Farron pulls him back from the brink, assures him they'll find their way back to each other in this life. But is it enough? If Khem's death is written in the stars, can Farron really stop it or just delay it?
The big question, does he rewrite the script?
He does. He proves that free will, when fueled by that kind of absolute love and willingness to sacrifice, can actually override fate. In that final confrontation, Faren throws everything he has, all his power, the Naga weapon, his own life force basically, into defeating Ramfuang and shattering the curse for good.
It's a massive sacrifice on his part.
Totally. He essentially uses himself as the conduit, the shield, to absorb and nullify that centuries-old karmic debt. And by doing so, he gives Khem that happy ending, literally as the clock strikes midnight on his 21st birthday. Farron's readiness to lose absolutely everything is what allows Khem to finally gain his life back.
That finale was just incredibly powerful. Okay, shifting gears slightly, let's talk reception. Khemjira wasn't just a niche hit, right? It got huge praise.
Oh, massive. Critics and audiences loved the chemistry between the leads, Namping as Khem and Kang as Faren. The special effects were really effective, surprisingly so for the genre sometimes, and the storytelling is just seen as incredibly sophisticated.
And beyond just being well-made, people really responded to how it kind of subverted typical BL expectations, didn't they?
Absolutely. You know, a lot of BL can lean towards lighter fair school dramas, fluffy romance, which is great. But Kimjira took a character whose core identity issue, having this feminine name forced on him by a deadly curse, and put that front and center in this dark, terrifying existential fight.
That feels like the key point about identity, doesn't it? Khem's situation, that enforced femininity as a survival tactic, it directly connects the supernatural horror to a deeper exploration of, well, queer identity and just the right to exist on your own terms. He's fighting not just spirits, but fighting for his right to live without being defined solely by this curse or this predetermined fate, whether that fate is death or societal boxes.
Precisely. And that sophisticated handling of theme, it actually sparked some really interesting conversations in Thailand. The show got so popular that people outside the usual BL fandom mainstream viewers started watching. And apparently some were asking, wait, why isn't the main couple a guy and a girl?
Seriously. Wow, that says a lot about its reach.
It really does. And it led the cast themselves to comment publicly, saying things like, you know, maybe the country is not yet 100% open to BL.
Yeah.
It highlighted how Kimjira, by being so undeniably good and compelling, kind of forced a confrontation with those lingering biases around acceptance and diversity, all wrapped up in this amazing spiritual drama package.
So when you boil it all down, Kimjira was this really rare thing, a show that managed to weave together genuinely scary supernatural horror with this epic, centuries-spanning romance where love, quite literally, was the only thing strong enough to break a 400-year-old curse.
Yeah, it really delivered something special. And if we think about the bigger picture here, that entire conflict, all the horror, the love story, Faren's sacrifice, it all stemmed from one single act of violence and one lie. Hundreds of years back. It created this devastating karmic debt, which leads to a pretty heavy question, I think, raised by the show's themes of karma and rebirth. Something for you, the listener, to maybe chew on. If our actions, our choices, really do carry that kind of weight across time, creating consequences for people generations down the line, well, what kind of legacy or maybe what kind of unseen karmic debts are we setting up right now for the future, for those who inherit the world we're shaping today?
That is definitely something to think about, a profound place to end. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking,